everybody, this is Rich Hanlin with Mortgage Ballers, and today I have Craig Bynum with me, and we are going to talk loans, we're going to talk hobbies, we're going to talk on the record, off the record, and I promised him if he gets too crazy, I'll edit it out, but I really won't, because I'm going to make sure everybody knows that he's human, and it's those imperfections that lead to perfection, and it's what people really relate to is not being perfect. I know I'm not. Look I got a lot of white on my beard. I'm fat. I'm old. I'm wearing a Georgia hat. Whatever you want to say that keeps you from getting out there and meeting people, shaking hands electronically or going in person, they're just excuses. Your goal is to get conversations, and we're going to talk about that today because that's what this is designed around, is for me to capture Craig, get something to him that's he can put out in front of his people, or together as a unit with all the videos, we can pull each other up. So if somebody says, hey, who's this Craig Bynum guy? The Google crawlers will pull him up to the surface, and quickly a video is going to pop up and people can say, oh, this guy's really cool. Right on. He's not the jerk I thought he was. No, I'm kidding.
Tell him.
Craig, welcome to the show, man. What's up?
Yeah, what's up, man? I'm glad to be here. I appreciate the invite.
No, right on. Where am I talking to you from?
I live in Hazel Park, Michigan, about a mile, 2 miles away from Detroit, right in the outskirts. So pretty familiar with the market around here.
Okay. How long, okay, so it's very interesting where you're at. How long have you been doing loans?
Just over 4 years now. I just went through the dates right before we got on the call. It's like 4 years and 2 months, I want to say.
Right on. And just for the record, what did you do before you got into loans?
So actually, right before I went off my own, I was an account executive at United Wholesale Mortgage, #1 lender in America.
I know that name. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, so me and Nate Reese is with you guys too. Him and I were AEs back in the day. He was actually the first person that trained me when I started there. I think when I joined the industry, I didn't know, everybody says I didn't know how to spell mortgage. I didn't know what it was. I always thought you had to, if you're going to buy a house, you got to put all the money you have down, whatever it is, just to get a mortgage. So before that, I was with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I managed Detroit Metro Airport for a couple years. COVID happened, so I got out of that because I seen interest rates were in the 2s and 3s. So I said, hell yeah, let me go get a piece of that. It seems like everybody's making a lot of money. By the time I got my feet wet, the rates went up to 6, 6.5, 7. I'm like, well, crap.
Timing is
everything. One
everything
thing after another, but I got to a point now where I realized I love what I do when I can go to a bar at 3 a.m. with a few soda pops and still talk about mortgages and be completely happy about it. And that's when I told my girlfriend, I'm like, hey, we're not there yet, like money-wise, but I love this and I don't want to get out of it. So,
no, I just interviewed Arturo Solis. Like, he's so young, and yet he did 50 deals last year and was one of our top people. You know, and he's well on his way. He's got someone helping him. He's got, for him, it's Thomas Harris. You got Jamie. Jamie's in every market. She lives the UWM. I think she actually has a room at UWM. I think there's a closet or something with her name on it because she goes there all the time. But, you know, Jamie has built a team. She's not afraid to take on any loan. A lot of people say, hey, take this little hard loan. And she's like, okay. And you get better and better and better. And I'm thinking, why would people be giving business away? But they do. And I'm like, this is the time it's slow enough to do those harder loans, because how do you get to the bigger numbers? You don't say no. You take on anything that comes in your door. You don't cherry pick. We all want A borrowers, but then again, those A borrowers can go anywhere. But I'll tell you what, the tough deals, especially if they've been turned down somewhere, they're very loyal. If you can help them, they could be a customer for life, which I love.
Yep, I agree.
Now, you said something. So are you part of a team, or do you just collaborate with Jamie? How does that work?
I believe I'm on her team. So I met her at UWM for Success Track class, and I currently didn't like the situation I was in prior to Xpert.
Okay.
Jamie told me all the benefits and everything, and I knew Nate, and then Alicia was a top AE. I think I just started when she was leaving there. So I knew of her as well. So I'm like, you know what? It makes perfect sense to transition to Xpert just because of the camaraderie, like the UWM way, like you guys know how that whole system works. And I'd want to be a part of something like that.
You know, it's funny. People always get into these broker groups and are like, you're not a broker if you don't get the lowest rate every single time. That is your obligation. I'm like, I already know what your pipeline looks like, but for you to say that, because you're chasing rate instead of relationship. My customers don't care if they get the lowest rate. I'm not screwing them over. What I'm doing is, with my knowledge and all the loans that we do, I know where I can get it done on time, within contract, because it's a lot of purchases. And a lot of people, hey, if I got a refi and you already own the house, I'll take a couple chances. Hey, wow, this lender I'm not approved with, I'm going to go get approved with them because look at that rate. And even if that's for a week, I can take advantage of it. No time frames. Purchases, we can write refinance later, but you gave me a 15-day close of escrow and you want me to take on a new relationship because I can save 1/8% in rate and that's my obligation? You've missed the whole bucket there. It's about closing and protecting your real estate agents. That is my client. Their client is the buyer, right? So I think about it differently. The more I protect my real estate agents, the more they can feel confident in who they bring in for those buyers. And when I'm talking, myself, meaning Xpert Home Lending, my originators. I know where those deals are coming from. And it's that trust and consistency and getting these people paid and making them look good. Because if they don't look good, it ain't on them. I guarantee you they're going to point it back our way. I know because I take some of those calls. Right on. I love it. If you had to pick, are you doing a little bit of everything? Are you focusing on purchases, refinances, HELOCs?
It's been heavy purchase for me.
Good.
I think being on my own 1099 for the first time in my life, I think 7 months ago I joined Xpert, so it hasn't even a full year. Before that, I didn't have any people to refinance. I don't believe in lead buy. I don't cold call. I don't cold email. Everything I do is fully organic. I go out and meet people. Why? People are like, oh, you should just buy some leads. I'm like, a year ago, I had $200 in my bank account. That was all I had. I blew my retirement. I blew everything when I left UWM. I had no other option but to go out and meet people and do everything. And since then, my overall happiness as a person has been so much better because, if I organically meet people and do the deals from them, each person has at least 200 to 500 contacts in their phone. If I do a good service for somebody, even if it's not doing the loan for them and advising them one way or the other, they're going to refer me to any of those people in their phone contacts whenever they pass them up. And it took 6 to 8 months before I started getting on my feet. But from there, it just snowballs.
No,
so that's been my approach.
It's interesting. You're talking a lot of the top people we talk to, they think, how do they get their business? But you heard Stephanie Gilbert, she's like, oh, I'm part of the core. And Noel Brownell, part of the core, Michael Radcliffe, part of the core. That is a hardcore coaching program. And it's all about 25 new contacts per day. And you get your butt kicked for the first 30 to 60 days and people drop out. They pay 15 grand and 80% probably drop out because it's so much rejection because you're finding 25 new realtors a day. But for those who can get past that point, it starts to feed back on itself and it gets easier. You're like, rejection is just part of it, but it's how you talk. Like, oh, you got somebody great. Who's your secondary? Cool. You know what? Who's third in line if they can't get it done? It's getting to the point that you're confident with who you are and what you can do, and it comes out when you talk to people. Same thing for refinances. If you just want to do refinance, cool. You better find 25 people to talk to about loans. And I'm not talking in the Starbucks line where you just ask them, do they have vanilla latte? It's an actual lead in of something that has to do with loans and or rates and or things like that. I was talking to Christina Gertzen, I always saying her name wrong, but she's right there in Michigan, and she's talking about, she goes on to all these websites, or not websites, like Facebook groups, social media groups, where people are asking questions. And she's like, you know what? I've been at UWM. I know a lot of those questions. So I'm just constantly answering questions. And she's risen up as like one of the star contributors, and and she picks up loans that way. It's just, everybody does it a little bit different, but there's effort. It's an 8-hour job, not 4, not 3. It's a full-time job. I wish I could get all the benefits working 1 hour a day, but I can't, not in this market. I've got to treat it with the respect that it deserves. So I love hearing that. $200. That's a good story.
That's all I had.
I've been there, my friend. I've been there. Now, you kind of answered a couple of my questions because obviously you were with UWM. You've only been doing it a couple of years. You're with us on the broker side. What are you running into where you're at? When you run into people that are on a fence, whether it's to refinance, like, oh, that low rate, but yet they've accumulated a lot of debt, like we all do. And then you got the other side, you got this person waiting for the perfect buying option. So instead of doing anything, they just kind of sit there renting.
Yep.
paying 100% interest when you rent, but you're worried about trying to pick up a half to 3/4 on the house you're thinking about buying. That's what's going to get you off, but you're paying a 100% interest when you rent somebody's property. What do you run into? What's your advice for people like that, Craig?
Yeah, I'd say, and like I said, I talk to people all the time about like, hey, you're renting now. What's your situation in 4 to 5 years look like? Sometimes the situation like, hey, in about a year, year and a half, we're actually going to relocate to California. So at that point, depending what you want to do, if you want to purchase a home, sure, go for it. And you can relocate, keep that property, rent it out, let it cash flow for you over time. Value's just going to keep appreciating. It's just the way it's going. But there's some people that are financially not ready just yet. Income's up and down, everything's variable, medical issues. Those people, like, I'll have an honest conversation. Like, I don't think this is the best time for you, but if you want to make this happen, let's do it. Same thing goes for refinances. Like, if you're not going to recoup the amount of, why pay $10,000 to buy the rate down half a point, quarter of a point, if we're predicting rates are going to drop a substantial amount in the next year? Or on the purchase side, has had one. Purchased a home about 7 months ago, looking to refinance. The appraised value in the House Canary report says it's only worth about $240. It appraised at $280 7 months ago. I don't think, I'm like, there's that chance if this thing doesn't appraise, this isn't going to work. And they're very tight on cash. They're like, hey, I don't think this, we don't want to risk that. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It just doesn't make sense to do that. I know there's a lot of loan officers, a lot of trigger lead shops that'll say, hell yeah, like, let's do it right now just to get a quick paycheck. That's not thinking about the borrowers. Like, that's a terrible fiduciary responsibility to anybody. So
yeah, I don't think the word fiduciary responsibility goes out with a lot of my competitors. I tell people, I'm not going to sell you anything. I guarantee you when I pull your credit, you're going to get 40, 50 phone calls and you're going to find out what sells is. And you're going to be so upset that our industry allows this. The good news is the rate I'm going to quote you today is going to be the rate that you go out the door at. And if I get it wrong, I'm going to eat the cost and do your loan for free. That's how I guarantee you the people you're talking to, ask them if they own a house. Ask them how long they've been in the business. They're burning and they're turning. And it's by design because they know that you're hot and heavy. And guess what? The very credit agency that you trust to keep your credit good sold them that information. So don't get mad at me. Get mad at the process. Great advice, though, by the way. A lot of people see us as loan originators, and I hate that because behind every person with a license, there's a human being. And I'd rather know who I'm dealing with because if I'm going to get all my personal stuff to you and you're going to be asking me questions and I'm going to have to come clean with you on anything because I can't hide it. I want to know more about the person I'm talking with. I don't just want someone with a license. When you're not a loan originator, when you're not in loan mode, who's Craig Bynum? What do you do? What kind of hobbies you got?
I coach varsity baseball. I'm assistant coach at my old high school.
Right on. What position did you play when you played baseball?
What's that?
What position did you play when you played baseball?
Well, 40 pounds ago, I was second base, and I moved to third. But I played at Lincoln Memorial University, which is out in Cumberland Gap, like Harrogate, Tennessee.
All right.
Small Division II school, but we were a powerhouse, and I was a very good cheerleader. I was a very big team guy. I never really played too much. Like I said,
I got invited to all the parties though.
Huh? Yeah,
you went to all the parties.
Yeah. Knoxville was a good time, but it was I made a lot of great friends. I still talk to this day. My head coach, him and I still chat every once in a while. It's a familial thing with me.
Okay.
Baseball, you have to be balls to the wall. I always said it's dick in the dirt baseball. Like you have to get down and dirty all the time if you're going to make something happen.
Craig, hold on a second. Are we allowed to say that on the air? No, I'm kidding.
That's just the way I look at it. Like it's a familial thing, and it translates straight over to the mortgage business too. Like you have to be
really
familiar with people. You have to be balls to the wall. You have to be ready to go when they're ready to go. So, and that's the way I look at it.
Right on. I played high school. I went to 2 years at a junior college or JUCO. And then I went to Cal State San Bernardino. I was All-American out there. I set records for home runs per season and then total home runs for the school. Got drafted by the Seattle Mariners in the 25th round of the 1989 draft. I was a starving college student. I got that $500 signing bonus that they had to pay me in 2 paychecks because they didn't have the money to pay me that damn $500. And I became a starving top ramen eating minor league player. And it lasted 1 glorious year for me. So
worth it. Yep.
It was good. I enjoyed it. A lot different than I really enjoyed college baseball. It was it was a team sport. When I got to the minor leagues, it was more of an individual, like, hey, I've got this many outfielders ahead of me. If they all break their legs, I could be in left field tomorrow. And I'm like, they didn't care whether you're one, it's, just develop, just develop. And I'm thinking, boy, this is a lot different than I thought it would be. Not there's anything wrong with that. There's money involved. You get money involved. Here's a good question for you. Are you paying attention to all these changes in college sports as far as how many years you can play, the nil money and all this crazy stuff?
Yeah, I'm not a fan, actually. I think it takes the love of the game away for me. Like I said, I was broke college kid too. I mean, that hunger, that urge to make it is just like, oh, I get and I'll just stay another year, which how many people are actually superstars getting that kind of money? I just don't agree with it. I don't think they should be paid, but I don't want to get political stuff like that. It's just the love for the game's gone, I feel like, in a lot of kids.
It's driving a couple good coaches out. The programs are becoming different. They talked about junior college, time spent there won't count towards it. It used to be that kids that went to BYU, they'd go on that 2-year mission, so here you are, an 18-year-old turning 19, depending on how you come out of high school, and you go to this program and you go up against BYU and you have these guys returning. You could be up against a 24, 25-year-old man that's been developing that whole time. But now you're pushing out 26, 27, 28. If you got 5 years, you got red shirt, green shirt, gray shirt. Why would you leave? And I saw it last year with Georgia. Normally you don't see seniors playing in SEC baseball because your juniors are going to be the ones getting drafted. They become the backups, but now you're seeing seniors play. And these guys have bodies that look like, I'm like, these guys look like they could play in the pros, but now we only have so many slots. What is it, 40 slots in the rounds or 40 rounds? And it drops off fast. And so you don't even get all these players. I'm thinking, man, how do you find the top players going all the way to the big leagues? By the time you put all these you're going to see a lot of older players entering the minor leagues. I wouldn't want to play minor league baseball at 27, 28 years old as a rookie.
The draft stock too. How much money you can invest in a player that's 27, 28 years old?
$500.
I wouldn't invest that much. 28. That's me. I pick up the guys 22, 23. That's fresh. Still got at least 4 or 5 good years out of them.
I just saw a kid out of so on my team, there was a kid out of the Dominican. The kid was 16 and he was a shortstop. And I'm thinking, here I am coming out of college, and I'm looking at this. Between his ears, he was a kid, but his body was that of a man. And I was like, no way. He had to leave early because he missed his family so much, because mentally he was still just a young man. But and getting pulled, from the Dominican over here, I was amazed at that, though I never really realized, there's a lot of stuff you learn going through college, starving, making the friends, because you're doing it together at the same time, overcoming the same time. And it does translate to life. I mean, I get up every morning. I have to go for it. No one's going to give me a damn thing. I'm going to have to compete for it. And if I'm not willing to compete for it, you're in the wrong business, because if you want to play, if you want to start, you got it. I used to tell people, hey, anybody can show up on game day. It's how you practice should be like you're going to play on game day. I need to know what you're going to be, and then you just carry that over to the game. No, I show up on game day. Good for you. I'm going to take the guy that plays day in and day out, turning those double plays, because I expect that he'll do the same exact thing if I put him in the real situation. And right now you're in the real situation as a loan originator. This is the hardest time. If you weren't here at 2008, that was hard. There was another time that we had it, but it used to be 6 to 8 months was the hard time. Then a new product would come around. 2008 was extended. This has been extended. They're not raising the rates anymore, knock on wood, but they're also not lowering them yet. But people are starting to come around. They're starting to get used to the higher rates. And people like yourself that are persevering through this, which your sports definitely kick into that, are going to come flying out when this market bursts. There's so much pent up energy. I'm excited for you because you're in the right place to have an incredible rocket shot when that happens. So congratulations of getting to the broker side at least.
Thank you.
Tell me a little about your life. You didn't touch on it, but I think I heard a girlfriend. You have kids, married, or is it a girlfriend?
Yeah. Girlfriend's name is Allison. We
All
met
right.
about a little over 5 years ago.
Yeah.
She's gonna kick me for not knowing exactly. It's a little over 5 years now. She's my Tinderella. We met on Tinder like a little 5 years ago,
All right.
and obviously everybody knows what that was for. But it turned out to be something special, and here we are, a little over 5 years later.
Very nice.
She's got 3 cats. We named them Beans, Tater, and Chip.
Okay.
And my dog's name is Frank. So
They
I
get
have an
along?
all-American lunch special of animals in
Okay.
our house.
I
Yeah.
like it.
She was a college softball player. So when we have kids, we don't have any kids yet, but we got a name picked out, and he's going to go to the show. What I told her.
Okay.
She was second base. I was middle infield. He's going to be fast. So our retirement's invested in our kid one day, I would say.
Well, I would tell you that I went to an event last night. I don't go to a lot of events outside of our events. And there's a reason for that. I went to an event. I drove down to Atlanta, a lot of a real estate attorney office, a lot of real estate people from the Atlanta area. And I got invited down there, from one of our Georgia loan originators. And, I stayed there for about 3 hours, but I was amazed at the defeated energy over and over and over in the conversations that I had. Because everybody's like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I'm a mortgage broker. I don't like to go in there and, hey, my name's Rich Hanlin. It's like, yeah, I'm a mortgage broker. I originate loans, all that. Well, how's that working for you? It's going all right. It's going all right. And then we start talking, and I just have to ask him, I'm like, well, how many hours do you spend a day being a realtor? Well, what do you mean? And I'm like, no, seriously, like prospecting. Are you doing it 8 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours? Obviously, you're here tonight. Like, you're not going to get no business here tonight. So if you're doing these kind of things, you're just talking with other people in the industry. We like to do that. But how much time do you spend prospecting in one direction that could lead to business versus how much time do you spend? And they were getting kind of mad at me, but I'm thinking, okay, let me tell you, I have 623 loan originators in 44 states. Some of them are having record years, the best years they've ever had. Some of them are filing bankruptcy right now. What's the common trait? They both have the same license, but there's obviously a disconnect or a difference. Every single one of the top people at Xpert that I interview they wake up in the morning and they hit it. One direction. They have pushed off. As soon as they got to 4 deals, maybe 5 deals a month, boom, they hired somebody to take on the remedial tasks so that they could go on to keep doing the things that bring business in. And each person is a little different, but a lot of people are afraid to spend money. I'm thinking these are the best people. They were spending money. They got more business and they're still being coached. We have to pay attention to the successful people. And here we are interviewing people that are successful. And I've got people, 126 took me up on the offer to do a video out of 620. I don't know why. I offered the same thing to everybody. I'm going to push this sucker through the roof for you on social media because I want people to get to know you. But I can't help those who don't want to be helped because Craig just needs more conversations. How can Rich help Craig get more conversations? And that is what I am 100% devoted my 2025 to. And it starts with things like this that I can get out there to show you guys how backlinking works, how tier one links work between Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, now called X, Instagram, things like that. That's where it's at. People are video people now. If not, you better be one heck of a person getting out to a lot of events. And you better make sure everybody that if they had a question about a loan, would they ask you? And if not, why not? Right? So I'm preaching here. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's good.
All right. So I want to also point out, Craig was helping us. He helps us on our Arrive stuff, that project. So I appreciate that, Craig, because he jumped in. A lot of people don't realize how much we had to do on that and how much has been done on that. And Craig was on part of that team. I call it my SOS team because I needed help right away. And having originators dive in, they become really good at Arrive because Arrive is very powerful when it's set up correctly. You can just push a button and get a lot of reports, but it's only as good as what you put in there. Craig, the other day we figured out, we've been working on the funded stuff. We just figured out there was over 22,000 loans that were stuck in app status. So now we're starting that procedure. But I want to say thank you for that. Trying to think, I had another question for you here, but you kind of threw something in there. I know about your team. I know what you're doing. You're on the same time zone I am. How's it working with UWM on this side of it versus you used to work on that side of it? Do you feel very comfortable? Is that an awkward thing, or you're like, no, Rich, I believed in it then and I believe in it now?
Yeah, so when I left, I don't know if I said, like, when I left UWM, I got clapped off the sales floor in like a good way. I left on very good terms. I'm still cool with people. Shout out Nick Gaudino, Cheeks, everybody, Frederick. Like I said, they've supported me all those years. It was just I had a different vision, and I got to a point where, as an AE, like, you work with a lot of brokers and you sell them on the process, pricing, all this good stuff with UWM and the partnership. I had a lot of brokers that didn't give a crap about any of that. Like, oh, this lender's got 15 basis points better, I'm going to take it to them. Now, if I was to go back, I could actually put these guys in their place because I know what it's like on this side of it. The simplest things, such as getting disclosures out. There's one lender we have that took a week and a half just to get things figured out in disclosures, 2 days to call back. UWM, I can do this at 9 o'clock at night, just disclosures out, signed, appraisal ordered, appraisal's done next day. Like, how can you beat that? I will eat the other cost to make this thing work, because if I blow it out of the park for the real estate agent, the borrower, I'm going to get referrals left and right from this one transaction. Like I said, I had a different vision. I love assisting people. I got to a point I hated talking to brokers.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that didn't get it. And no matter if I flew out there in my own PTO, I drove 8 hours to Wisconsin once to meet this guy. And what's he do? He goes back to Rocket. Like, oh, Rocket's given this. Who gives a shit about Rocket? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Sorry. I get worked up about it. Being an AE and seeing that. And now I'm on the other side. I'm like, these brokers, just how could you do that to your borrower, to your real estate agent? How could you just shop over 15 basis points? Like, cut it out, make it a little less. They do it every day. The deal done, get referrals. Call it a day. That's it.
Yeah, I went UWM because at my previous company, just like here, people can go wherever they want, and 72% chose UWM, only 9% chose Rocket, and it was straight up. There was no limitation. So when the ultimatum came out, obviously we went UWM.
My first day on the sales floor, UWM was all in, and I didn't know what that meant.
Okay.
At all. I'm like, what does this mean? And everybody's going
all
crazy.
Scared.
Like, that was my first day. I'm like, I don't even know who Rocket Mortgage is at the time.
No, I liked it. I have no problems with Rocket. They have called my clients, and I have loan officers, because I watch people say, oh, no, I have the gold status. I'm like, yeah, I had every status because we gave them hundreds of loans per month. I had everything they offered, and they still called my people. So it is Rich, no, it was always, they must have clicked on something, because we never would have done that. And I'm like, well, UWM doesn't do loans, so it can never happen. Oh, but they can sell your dough. Well, tell me this. UWM is the only person I know that will fly out 1,000 people, my loan officers and all their real estate agents, to put on a shindig, a success track that makes everybody look good. I mean, they have classes going every single day, multiple classes, and they'll get you out there. Why do they do that? And why are they so damn fast at the disclosures? And why are other people still having human beings do what they do electronically? There's other lenders I like, but there are some that have not put any money in their technology in 15 years. And it shows. And I go into these to get the compliance packages, Craig, and I'm like, well, you've seen that. Like, holy crap, where's my package? Oh, we don't have the bandwidth to hold those. It's gone after 2 days. Your loan officer should have taken it out already. Well, he didn't. So how do I get it? We had to change our whole system to get it on the front side once before it closes, because you ain't getting it within 3 or 4 days after the fact. And then I got to get beat up to ask for it, like I did something wrong. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
UWM, I can see every loan that we've ever put into that system today, all the way from day one. And I'm like, that is a tremendous amount of bandwidth that they have. Why can't other people do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
They have thousands, probably billions of loans over there by the time you add all the brokers. It's just crazy. How's the weather out there right now?
It's a little warmer today. I mean, it snowed
What's
a lot.
a little warmer mean?
Huh?
What's a little warmer mean?
38, 39 right now. So t-shirt weather compared to the 15 we had a couple weeks ago.
Okay. All right. Well,
yeah.
Warm to you and warm to me are a little bit different, but that's all right.
I bet.
I always had to, Alyssa, I call her Lisa, bud. When she was my AE at Answer Home Loans, or, she came out here, I'm like, Lisa, why is it that we always go out like right at the end of the year when it's starting to get cold, or it was snowing the last time we were there? I'm like, when's the best time of the year to go? Can we go during the best time? I've never seen Michigan when it's hot outside, and people are like, oh, it's just beautiful. And I'm like, okay, what month is that? How many months out of the year? Because it seems like every time I go, I'm cold. And when you stand outside waiting for that Uber, at the airport and they take you up to that fourth floor and the wind's howling and you're like, yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
from
it's
this
rough.
kind of weather. I'm not used to it.
It's definitely July, but it is what it is. Yeah, that for sure July, June, July.
I remember when Detroit almost shut down, like after the car dealers pulled out. Um, but Matt, as well as Rocket, have poured back into Detroit and into Michigan. I mean, Matt, how many people does he house there? 7,000? I mean, he has a lot of employees there.
Might be over that now.
He
Yeah,
might be
it
over
bounced
that.
a little bit, but
All right. I went there last time and they have the big walkway over the top of the street. And I'm like, who made this? I just think, what is this, a half mile long? You got to walk over the top of the whole prize. I'm just like, Matt, you're having some fun with this, I think. It's nothing is too big for him to do. And it's kind of interesting where he takes it. One thing I do like about Matt, I don't think he sleeps, number one. I think he lies. I don't think he even sleeps 3 hours a night. But what I like about him is he tries a little bit of everything. UWM rolls out a lot of stuff. Some of it sticks, some of it doesn't. But they're always trying to better everything. And then a lot of people just stand back and they say, oh, whatever, they're just doing it. I'm like, well, thank God somebody's leading the industry in the direction it needs to go. And we're not just sitting back. AI is coming for us, Craig, whether we like it or not, and how you're going to use it. Are you shying away from it? Or are you getting in front of it and it's now a tool? I love that UWM puts some money into the future and they don't just ride on this shoestring budget hoping they get business, because that's the same as my bottom 50% of loan originators that don't want to pay any money. It doesn't get very much results. You got to invest in yourself one way or another.
I agree. You look back to Bolt. When Bolt came out, was it 2.5 years ago? Everybody's like, oh, this is BS. Like, this thing doesn't work. He had a vision with what's going to happen now. He's like, this is going to be the future. Like, I use Bolt on every FHA conventional, any file I possibly can. I have the approval right in front of me. I underwrote the file. The underwriters like it. They cherry pick those bad puppies. Like, oh, this thing's easy. Boom, boom, out in 2 hours. Call the agent and call the borrower. Everything's like, we're good. Give me these 2 to 3 things, we're clear to close. 4 days later, we're CTC with an appraisal. 1007 if it's a DSCR. Like, how can you beat that? I don't.
No, it's awesome. What's interesting is listen to you talk. You sound really seasoned. It's because of that background, being around that all day. Some of my best originators have either been a processor or an AE. Why is it? Because you get fired at all day long with questions, and you learn where to get the answers. You learn how to troubleshoot and problem solve and communicate. Those are incredible skills that no one can teach you. You either figure it out and get beat up, because UWM is at a very fast pace and they're recording every word you say, and they're going to just constantly critique. And it's tough, but those who can figure it out can be highly rewarded there, because it shakes out. It's by design when you're dealing with that many loans. He's gearing up for something big. And I love that he partners with smaller people like us to help pull us through, and he doesn't compete against us. So I've always enjoyed that about UWM. They are scalable. As big as I want to get, they can handle it. No problems. So I like it. Craig, do you have any questions for me? I'm sitting here just talking. Anything I can answer for you? Not that you have it, but I always want to ask that. I mean, any question you want from me, I don't care what it is. I'll be as honest as I can and try and answer.
I probably should have prepared. This is always bad with job interviews like this too, because they always say come with like 2 to 3 questions. I went and got Big B coffee, my really girly coffee from Big B right before this.
That's all right.
I got nothing for you, man.
That's okay. I mean, obviously a lot of people send me questions all the time, even, via text or email. But I sit here and drill people on all these interviews talking. By the way, you're already hired. You're already partnered. So you got the job. Nothing wrote on this. I just really want it. Number one, we get to talk one-on-one. But number two, I could capture it on a camera and basically get something that other people can see, because your energy in this moment can be captured and it will forever be green for you for the next couple of years. And what's awesome, in a year or 2 years after you've done 150 loans, you can look back and see, who was Craig back then? You're going to have a full beard. You're going to have gray hair. We're going to get to see that transformation over time, because this industry, it's not easy. It can be very lucrative, but it's not just going to happen. You have to put in the effort full time if you want a full-time result out of it, but it's still the most lucrative thing I've ever gotten into. And it's coming back. It's coming back with a vengeance, I guarantee you.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well, right on, Craig. I appreciate your time today. I appreciate you just sitting with me. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background. Tell us about your baseball career. All the good stuff of all the pets that you guys have with the 3 cats and the 1 dog. Thank you for sharing your girlfriend's name with us. We will not share it online. But either way, we got to know you a little bit. Thanks for being real. Thanks for being likable. I think people will be relatable would be the best word. There's more to it than just getting a license. It's having ability, and you have an incredible background resume behind you. So congratulations on that. I think you're exactly where you need to be right now in your life, and great things are going to come. I wish you nothing but the best for 2025.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Right on. Like we say every time we close out a Mortgage Baller interview, stay thirsty, my friends. Take care, Craig.
Thanks, man.